Okay, you can hold it. Start talking.
So the big argument is Archbishop Lefebvre wanted to sign in May the 5th, 1988. What he wants, why did he go through all this process of negotiations? It's because he was surrounded by many priests in favor of having an agreement. Not that he wanted himself very much, but all these priests really encouraged him to conduct this negotiation. So Archbishop Lefebvre was interested to just, have a look at it, give it a chance if possible, So, but he never believed in the notion of these negotiations. And to show that there was a difference, I remember when I was a little altar boy in Saint Nicolas du Chardonnay in 87, 88, after Assisi 1, Archbishop Lefebvre made a very fiery leaflet, very fiery, with the devil calling John Paul II from hell, and that was published maybe in the Angelus long time ago. Everybody has forgotten about it. But then he ordered in France this leaflet, which is very, very severe against the Pope. The Pope who refuses Our Lady and Our Lord to enter because the other religions are, praying together. So it was a very, very strong leaflet. Now he had this leaflet being printed in the tens of thousands in France, and he wanted the leaflet to be distributed everywhere in the district to all the faithful, and he would tell the youth group MJCF to go out in the street of Paris and distribute those leaflets, outside of the Novus Ordo churches. And so these leaflets got printed. And I remember I was an altar boy, so I was going up and down this staircase, where you got the priest quarters and everything. And I see all this mass of red leaflets, piled up there, stored, because the staircase is very wide. And so you got all these leaflets packed there, thousands of them. And they never got distributed in Saint Nicholas. They were disposed of after a while, after a few months. And then I learned that yes, indeed, the priest in charge did not agree about the leaflets. Those leaflets were too strong because of the May atmosphere and everything, and should not be distributed. And so that's one of these examples I remember very well of priest of the time of 1988 not agreeing with Archbishop Lefebvre, or on the practical level being in favor of an agreement. Father Laroche, Father Laguérie, Father Bizig, Father Olani at some stage, even Bishop Tissier, who was Father Tissier at the time. He was not Father Duchalard, and so there was a whole mass of priests who wanted Archbishop Lefebvre to really talk to Rome, and really hoping that something would be signed. And the word is, history says that at that time it's Mother Marie Simoulin and the Carmelite Superior Mother Marie Christiane, and possibly I think Mother Jude, Mary Jude, but I'm not sure about Mary Jude. But at least Simoulin and Marie Christiane are the ones who at the meeting in Courtalin really tipped the balance and really encouraged Archbishop Lefebvre to not to compromise with Rome and consecrate bishops, because we must not forget that what proves really that Archbishop Lefebvre would not negotiate with the new Rome is that he actually consecrated these 4 bishops, and that was only for a few hours that he remained up in the air, thinking about what he had signed when he had signed the protocol. So there is no evidence, there is no historical evidence that Archbishop Lefebvre was a big-time dialogue man with the new Rome. I myself, when I was a young seminarian, I had Archbishop Lefebvre at meals, so we would see, and each time he was eating with us, and year after year, each time Rome was the enemy, and it was very clear in a conversation you would have with him. You don't need just to dig in his public statements or in the conference in Econ. you could see, in the policies, in the canonical policies he was setting, that the New Rome was the enemy. He always considered the New Rome as an enemy, as something to be wary of, and but he was not followed by all his priests on this practical line of conduct. It's a little bit like Garcia Moreno. The heroicity of Garcia Moreno is reinforced in a sense that he made the Catholic Ecuador against the better advice of this Catholic upper society, the liberal, the upper class Catholics of Ecuador were liberals, and they would not approve. Most of them thought that Garcia Moreno was crazy. Garcia Moreno had the support of the people, of the simple Ecuadorian people who understood Freemasonry and the workings of the revolution much better than those highly educated liberal Catholics. And that's the beauty of the life of Garcia Moreno, is that he really did everything for Christ the King against the tide, which was liberal, which was going against his council. And so the same thing applies to Archbishop Lefebvre, that he was surrounded by a good amount of priests who are good priests. I don't throw the stone at them. I love them very much. But they were in his time in favor of really believing that Rome could be trusted to a good extent. And so that's a fact of history. And so nobody can say that Archbishop Lefebvre was always, very eager to go and to look into it, once in a while, yes, but he never believed in it. He never went to Rome, believing that, something highly providential was just around the corner, and, we could take the desire of the Pope to negotiate as a great sign of immense progress with Rome. He was always, all his life, from the council onwards, he was always wary of the popes and all the other officials who were in Rome, and especially he always warned about Masonry in the Vatican, because the ideas of Masonry were reigning in the Vatican. And during his time in our publications, we used to publicize who was a Mason. Especially the Secretary of State was usually a Mason, Casaroli, Silvestrini, and we were always publicizing who were the names of Masons in the upper dicasteries of Rome. Now this is not happening anymore. That's something also that has changed, is that we have lost our belief that Freemasonry is still active, is still doing some works in order to destroy the church. It seems that all the Masons now are on strike, or they are on vacations, or they are tired of the fight against the SSPX. They think it's hopeless to fight the SSPX, and there are no more Freemasons doing any work in Rome. So this is also a big change that is very harmful to us today, because if we don't believe that Masonry is at work still in Rome today, then of course we're going to have some misplaced trust in the New Rome of today. Alright, that's all I've got to say.